Hello everybody and welcome to the first episode of Season 2 of the FC25 Career Mode Dream Team series. Of course, in this career mode, we are building a hybrid squad from the three teams that we used in FC25 on the channel: Celtic, Manchester United and Club de Foot Montreal. And after a wild first season where we came so close to winning the Premier League title in a 5-horse race for the league title, we unfortunately did lose to Arsenal on the final day of the season, and they did, of course, win the Premier League. But look, the main goal of Season 1 was to qualify for the Champions League. Of course, the ultimate goal of this series is to win the quadruple, and I do think that we've taken a decent step in the right direction towards doing that. Do I think we'll do it here in Season 2? Not very likely. I still think we have a bit to go, but I do think that we can give it a mighty go as well this season. But anyways, we have had to make some transfers. We've also seen some players leave unexpectedly. So without further ado, allow me to show you the squad that we have going into the second season. So Sami Zayn is still between the sticks. The Montreal goalkeeper will still be our main goalkeeper in this series, and I really don't have any plans on changing that. Unai Simon was obviously brilliant. Ederson, of course, was in goal when we won the Champions League with Celtic, but I do think Sami Zayn was my favourite goalkeeper to use in career mode this year. He's got a haluva kick on him as well. He's very oozy is the way I would put it. If you know, you know. Mazraoui will stay at right back. Brooks and Martinez still the two centre backs. A familiar looking back four apart from the left back. So we didn't actually get as much money for this transfer window as I was expecting. I think we had about 67 million, which isn't terrible, but with some of the transfers I wanted to make, it just wasn't enough. So I knew I had to make a sacrifice in the team. It was between Cole Palmer and Theo Hernandez, and I just felt like the more replaceable one was Theo Hernandez. As great as he is, I just felt like with Cole Palmer, yeah, we could have brought in Olise, yes, we could have brought in Ahmad, but Palmer is just such a special player, especially in this game, and he was the one I wanted to let go of a lot less. And of course, he's younger as well. He's got more of an upside to him, so Hernandez was the one we sold. We sold him for about 107 million to Barcelona, and we did bring in Kerkez, who we did use in the Manchester United career mode, which is kind of ironic considering that he ended up going to Liverpool in real life. But whatever, he was still eligible to be used in this series. We move on up the pitch then into the midfield. Shulman is still going to be playing in the middle of the park, which is very good to see. But Kökçü will no longer be alongside him. We have replaced him with also a player who we used in the Celtic series, Quinton Timber. Now, I'm not overly disappointed about this, but I do have to take responsibility in what ended up happening here. So at the end of Season 1, I was offering players some new contracts who didn't have very long left on their deals, and Kökçü was one of them. I must have included a release clause in his contract without noticing. I did delegate the contract offer, so I must have just overlooked it, which is on me, because Man City ended up paying that money for him and he has gone over to the blue half of Manchester. But Timber has come in to replace him. He is 2 overalls lower than Kökçü, but we know how good this man can be on his day, so I'm not overly disappointed with this, especially since Kökçü I found was a little bit disappointing in Season 1. So it's not the worst case scenario, but slightly annoying that he's gone to Man City. But whatever, it is what it is. GSP there still as the number 10. Phil Brooks is still the captain, but GSP is definitely the vice captain here. And to be honest with you, eventually he may get the captain's armband. Phil Brooks didn't have the best first season, but still going to give him another chance. We know how good he can be, so I'm not going to make that decision just yet. Cole Palmer there still on the right hand side. Rasmus Højlund is the new man leading the line. Yes, I know in real life he hasn't exactly been in great form over the past year or so, but we know in this game, lads, as we saw in the United career mode, he is a different beast altogether. Ideally, I would have gotten Victor Gyökeres, but we just didn't have the funds for it. I wanted to invest in the whole squad, not just in one position, so Rasmus was the better option to go with financially there, as opposed to Victor Gyökeres. But if we don't achieve our objective of the series this season, then in the final season, I think I definitely will go for Victor Gyökeres. But somebody who we have got from the Celtic series who did score in the Champions League final, just like Victor Gyökeres, is Anthony Gordon. 85 rated there, over on that left-hand side. I know some people might be disappointed that Maeda isn't starting every game anymore, but Maeda is just such a special player coming off the bench. Like, he's a great player to start with as well, but having that option off the bench. I hope this doesn't sound too tasteless, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of Diogo Jota when he was at Liverpool. And I know obviously Jota recently passed away, so I kind of have to be careful with my words there. Not that I'm, I don't want to make it seem like I'm kind of overlooking what happened with Jota. I'm over-explaining this. I'm just going to move on. But Maeda, I feel like, is in a very similar position there. He can play anywhere across the front four. He doesn't need to start the game to have a big impact. So, yeah, that's why I'm very happy with the move we have made there. On the bench then, Esteban Nepal hasn't been sold, but I have decided to loan him out for this season here, just because I felt like he needed a year to go and grow and develop. And he has already gone up by 1 overall since going to Crystal Palace on loan, so Adam Ida will be the backup striker on the bench. Maeda we just talked about. Garnacho has been brought in as the backup winger. I know he's a cam for now, but we are converting his position. I'm not very happy with this guy in real life, obviously, as a United fan. But look, in the United series, he was a fantastic player, so I'm happy to have him in this squad. Kone still the backup centre midfielder. Christensen still the backup left back. Yusuf has come in as another backup centre back. I feel a little bit sorry for Liam Scales that he didn't get to play as much in that first season, but Yusuf was definitely a quality player in the Montreal series, so I'm happy to have him back in this team. Yoro still there as a backup centre back as well, but I will give him a bit more game time this season, especially now that we have more games with European football. Johnston still the right back. Marius Muller is the goalkeeper I've brought in to be the backup to Sami Zayn. Kasper Schmeichel, ideally I would have kept for another year, but he was constantly complaining about the lack of game time. We were getting a good few offers for him, so I just decided to accept one, and he has gone to West Ham United. A lot of you mightn't remember Marius Muller, but he actually was a third choice keeper for us in the United series. We didn't have a lot of money to bring in another goalkeeper of, a similar quality to Sami Zayn, especially when you think of the keepers we used in the other series that we did in FC25. So Muller was the one that financially made the most sense. But to be honest with you lads, Sami Zayn's probably going to play every game anyway, so I'm not overly arsed about it. Then we go on into the reserves. Tyler Goodrum and LaMarshall still in the squad there. Decent backup options to have as utility players. And you might be looking at this here thinking, there's not a lot of squad depth for a team playing in Europe, but I have found a way to get around that by using the Youth Academy. I mentioned this a little bit in Season 1, but we didn't probably incorporate it as much as I should have, but we'll definitely do it here in Season 2. I've sent youth scouts out to the countries where we did career modes in, so we have France, Canada and Scotland. I know with Canada and France, it's kind of slightly cheating because we used the Canadian team, but in the French league, but listen, whatever. I think it makes sense. So that's those are the countries we have decided to send youth scouts out to. So in France, we're looking for a left back and a centre midfielder. In Canada, we're looking for the successor to Sami Zayn by looking for another goalkeeper. And in Scotland, we're kind of looking for a mix of everything: centre back, centre attacking midfielder, a striker and a winger. So hopefully these youth scouts can come up with the goods. I know we have 2 one-star scouts here. Listen, I'm not expecting miracles, but maybe we might find a diamond or two amongst the rough. But this youth scout here, I'm expecting some decent results with his 5-star experience and 5-star judgment. But we have actually played our first game of the season, so I'll explain what the strategy will be when showing games this season after we go through these highlights. But Cole Palmer got things going here, the former Chelsea player scoring against West Ham United. A cold finish from a cold player picking up from his fantastic form last season where he was our top goal scorer, and he gets the opening goal of this campaign as well. Rasmus Højlund then brought his form from the United career mode over into this Dream Team series. Absolutely nobody there to catch up with him, and a brilliant finish as well to round it off. I think actually this highlight here from Sami Zayn, no, it's not the one I'm thinking of. Sami Zayn made an absolute world-class save from a one-on-one with Antonio, I think it was. It's a shame it hasn't saved it here in the highlights, but whatever. Thankfully, he kept a clean sheet. And we wrap things up then with Rasmus Højlund's second goal of the game here on his debut. A 3-0 win here against West Ham, and a great way to kick off the season. So, as I said, FC26, or as I said earlier, FC26 is only around the corner. I don't want this series to drag on forever. So I'm going to show you the highlights of the first few Premier League games, and the game that we'll play in full on this episode will be our first Champions League game of the campaign. I think that's a fair way of doing it for this first episode. A trip to Brentford then followed that game against West Ham, and a very similar result. Rasmus Højlund inside 3 minutes getting his third goal for this Dream Team club, and it's a fantastic finish as well from a man who I had so much fun using in the United career mode. And honestly, lads, don't let real life stop you from using Rasmus Højlund in career mode. He does become an absolute beast. And listen, I get criticised for it, but I do think there is a good player there in real life. He had a tough season last season, but I still think he will come good at some stage, whether that's for Manchester United or for somebody else. But anyways, he did get things up and running for us here in terms of the goal scoring. Hjulmand then with the really good finish, somebody who doesn't score an awful lot of goals, but when he does, they tend to be quite good ones, and that was a really good finish there from the Danish Michael Carrick, the Danish Roy Keane, whatever you want to call him. He wears number 16 like they both did, and that is a finish they would both be proud of. Fantastic finish from our midfielder. Then we got a penalty kick just before the half-hour mark. Cole Palmer, as cold as ever, putting us 3-0 up, and that was that. 3 more goals here against Brentford, but most importantly, 3 more points. You know what? Bournemouth haven't gotten off to a great start. 19th place. To be fair, only after 2 games, but we've gotten off to the perfect start. We're at home here as well, fully fit team. I feel pretty comfortable simming this game. Famous last words. Let's give it a go, see how we get on. It's a 2-1 win. We do concede our first goal of the season, but Mazraoui and GSP cancel out Kluivert's equaliser, and we take all 3 points here against Bournemouth. So up next, we took on a team you're going to be seeing a lot of on the channel over the next few months. Our first FC26 career mode team, Everton. But today, of course, they are the opponent, and we did put them to the sword. Cole Palmer, yet again, putting the ball in the back of the net from the penalty spot. Begovic didn't move, and Cole Palmer struck it absolutely fantastically. We did get another penalty then about 10 minutes later. Anthony Gordon actually took this one. For some reason, it automatically selected him this time and not Cole Palmer, which gave me a fright because I thought maybe Palmer was injured. We did play the highlights of this game, so that did give me a fright. Thankfully he wasn't, but Anthony Gordon did score his first goal for the club, and also a goal here against his old team. Beautiful finish there from the man who did score the opening goal in the Champions League final for us for Celtic back in December. Phil Brooks then, the man who lifted the invisible Champions League trophy, if you know you know, he scored his first goal of the season. Do not pinch yourselves, this actually happened. We scored a header from a corner. Honestly, this is a big rarity in FC25, which means in FC26 headers are probably going to be as overpowered as they've ever been. Like, that's just normally how it goes. But anyways, Phil Brooks did power that one into the top corner, and look at this. Anthony Gordon clean through, very unselfish, back heel over to Rasmus Højlund. He made it 4-0. Perfect start to our Premier League campaign. 4 wins from 4, only 1 goal conceded, and now we move on into our first Champions League game of the season. But just before we kick things off here in the Champions League, let me actually show you the fixtures here that we will have in the league phase. So we will be kicking things off here with an away trip to Istanbul to take on Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce. So an interesting fixture to kick things off. Not the toughest team we could have gotten, but definitely not the easiest team either. I think this will be quite an interesting fixture. We then move on over to October, where we will be taking on Atalanta to kick things off in that month away from home. So 2 away games to kick things off, and our second opponent in October will be AC Milan, so 2 Italian teams here in the month of October. Okay, that should be interesting. Turned into Mr. Mackey there for a second. Okay. Then we go into November and things really start to heat up. Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena. Well, I know the Allianz Arena isn't in the game. It will be though in FC26, but you get what I mean. An away trip there to Bayern, not going to be a very easy time there. And then we also have an away trip to Bilbao to take on Athletic Club. Isn't it weird how they roll out the fixtures, where you'll have like 2 away games, 2 home games? I've seen instances where we've had 4 home games in a row and then 4 away games. It's really strange how they delegate out the fixtures. It's a bit of a bizarre one. Then in December, I think we only have 1 opponent in this month, which will be Galatasaray. So we'll be playing 2 Turkish teams in this Champions League phase. And then to wrap things up in January, Atletico Madrid will be taking a trip to the JJ Arena, and also PSG will be travelling to the JJ Arena as well. So 2 incredibly difficult fixtures to round up the league phase, but hopefully we'll be in a good position by then, and let's hope we get off to a good start here on match day 1 against Fenerbahce. It's always great to be playing in the Champions League again. We may have missed out on the league title last season in heartbreaking fashion, but the main goal of Season 1 was to qualify for the Champions League for Season 2, and thankfully we did do that. And Fenerbahce are the first opponent. There's Fred leading them out onto the pitch, the former Manchester United midfielder. Hopefully he has a bit of a quiet game today. We have a full strength team. We've gotten off to a great start domestically, and now let's hope we can bring that form into European competition. So here we go. Fenerbahce are going to get things kicked off here. Match day 1 of the Champions League. Let's hopefully get 3 points here. As I said, Fenerbahce, not the easiest opponent, but not the toughest opponent on paper at least. But let's hope we can get off to a good start. Here's Cole Palmer now. Over to GSP. Rasmus Højlund, that's a good touch. Plenty of space to run into here. Oh, lovely from Rasmus. Oh, I tell you what, not the worst effort. Just beats the post as Jose Mourinho looks on there. Former Chelsea, Manchester United and Tottenham manager, of course, in the Premier League. The man who won this competition with both Porto and Inter Milan. But hopefully we can put his current team to the sword here today in this fixture. En-Nesyri up front, I gotta watch him. He ruined my life in the Europa League final in the United career mode this year. Oh, and he very nearly got the opening goal of this game there. Sami Zayn with a great save. Yeah, En-Nesyri, he was an absolute pain in the ass in that Europa League final in the United career mode. We did actually win that game 5-4 in the end, but he didn't make it very easy for us. And I can see they have Anderson Talisca there as well. The demigod, if any of you remember watching Masterbox Wolves career mode back in FIFA 19. I've actually gone back to watch a few of the old career modes, or excuse me, career modes in old FIFA games, I should say, in recent times. And a lot of them were Masterbox career mode. I remember watching the Portsmouth career mode not too long ago. And it's just crazy to see how much career mode has changed. I think it's changed for the better in some ways, but in a lot of ways it's changed for the worst. The thing I miss the most is requesting funds. I can never understand why they got rid of that from the game. I really don't understand why. As Sami Zayn is getting closed down there, bloody hell. Probably passing it around a bit too much here, as Talisca wins that back. Good tackle there though by Hjulman. I think in Season 1 of this series we definitely could have done with the request funds feature. But there definitely are some things that they have removed from career mode that I'd love to see them bring back. But yeah, it's a nice little trip down memory lane going back watching those career mode series. And it's kind of sad that we don't really see many YouTubers make career mode series like that anymore. Which is why I take a lot of pride in doing them on this channel, and hopefully you are enjoying them. And if you are enjoying them, lads, and if you are looking forward to the upcoming series we have in FC 26, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. The road to 700 has begun as we recently hit 600 subscribers, so thank you all so much for that. But this has not been the most exciting game so far, shall we say, but because I've said that now, they'll probably get a chance. Thankfully they don't. Lissandro Martinez there with a good tackle. Plays it into Cole Palmer. Hasn't seen much of the ball in this game. Goes on a decent run there. He manages to keep it. Oh my god, I tell you what, Oxford could really do with a bloody third kit in this game. Because whilst I wouldn't say this is a full-on kick clash, there are times where I take a quick glance at who's around me, and the jerseys do look quite similar in terms of just how light they are, as that goes out for a corner kick, which Talisca will take. Headed away by Hjulman. GSP probably should have done a little bit better there. Martinez gets there before Sami Zayn can. He's been quite lively at the back there. The Butcher, as Kerkez goes on a run here. Made his debut for Liverpool yesterday, of course, in the Community Shield, which Crystal Palace won on penalties. And I will be doing my season prediction video this coming Thursday, which I'm very much looking forward to, as bloody hell this man has decided he wants to ruin my life yet again. Oh my god, he's just an absolute nightmare to come up against En-Nesyri. I think it was 4 goals he got in the Europa League final against us. He definitely scored a hat-trick. I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 that he scored though in the end. But he's gotten the opening goal of the game here. It's not been a very exciting game. I didn't actually mean to skip that. Kind of wanted to see it again. But he gets his second Champions League goal of the season because Fenerbahce would have had to have played qualifiers to get here. Even though that annoys me though, because in real life they wouldn't actually count the qualifying goals as part of the Champions League proper stats. For example, Cristiano Ronaldo actually scored his first Champions League goal for United in 05-06 in a qualifier. But when they show compilations of his European goals, they normally don't count that one because it was a qualifier and not part of the Champions League proper. In which case his first goal came against Roma in 2007 in that 7-1 victory in the quarter-final. But we are 1-0 down here to that En-Nesyri goal. Not been the most exciting game. Rasmus did have a decent chance quite early on, but we haven't created too much since then, and we do trail going into the second 45 minutes. We may be down, but we are far from knocked out. We kick things off here in the second half. Hopefully we can respond relatively quickly here with Hjulman. I don't want to put it on the kick clash, right? Or the, kind of kick clash. But it is very, very difficult at a quick glance to pick out who my players are and who the opposition players are. But here's Rasmus Højlund. Oh, who somehow has missed the target. I know it was on his weaker side, but I did expect him to put that ball in the back of the net. Ah, that is disappointing. It would have been the perfect start here to the second 45 minutes. That's a bit of a heavy pass there from the goalkeeper, but we had nobody near the defender there to intercept that ball. Okay, we've probably pushed Phil Brooks up a bit too far there. Here's Abraham Lincoln now on the ball. Bloody hell. Oh my goodness me, that hit the bar. The woodwork has saved us there. I mean, I don't know why we're giving Marius Muller instructions. Sami Zayn has actually done nothing wrong. Wasn't necessarily his fault that we conceded the goal. But I tell you what, the woodwork did save us from going 2-0 down there. Let's take advantage now of that missed opportunity from them. Rasmus again. Brilliant finish. He misses one with his right foot, but he doesn't miss the second chance. And we are back on level terms here with a really, really good finish from Rasmus Højlund. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. You have to ignore his real life form when it comes to using him in career mode. He's an absolute beast in this game, and he was a beast in FC 24 as well, to be honest with you. He really is a very good striker to use in game. He was brilliant in the United series. He's been very good for us so far in this episode, and I expect him to have another good season here. And he's gotten us back on level terms here in Turkey. Get in there. Just over half an hour to go. Plenty of time for this game to be won, but that goes for both teams, not just us. And I feel like this will be an important 3 points if we can get it, because we have some very difficult fixtures in this Champions League campaign. This is one of... Oh my goodness, what the oh my god. I have no words for that. What have I just done? I mean, I just pressed X. I didn't move the analog stick in any direction. Phil Brooks is right in front of Sami Zayn. I don't know if there's some backstage heat between the two of them. I know back in the day they weren't exactly each other's biggest fan. But Sami Zayn, for some reason, has gone, do you know what, En-Nesyri? There you go. Big empty net for you to aim at there. And we now go 2-1 down. I was just about to say, this is one of the toughest Champions League groups we've been given. So every point will matter. And this is one of the games where on paper I thought, we've got a decent chance of getting 3 points. But now it looks like we'd be lucky to even get 1 point from this game. And what a stupid way to fall behind for the second time. Rasmus Højlund, not a bad strike. Good save by the goalkeeper though. And Mazraoui can't pick up the ball that was left over. Here's Tucson now. En-Nesyri on a hat-trick yet again. Oh, Martinez. Yeah, I knew that was going to be a straight red. Oh, I was hoping and praying he was going to get away with that. Oh, and not only are we a goal down now, we are also a man down. Completely mistimed that tackle. I can't have any complaints. I saw the advantage fly up for a second. I thought he might have gotten away with it, but it wasn't to be. I'm going to take off Timber. GSP can go back into the midfield there. He only gets a -1 as a centre-back, to be fair. You know what? I'm actually going to keep Timber there for now. I was going to bring on Lenny Yoro, but let's just leave him there because they're basically the same rating in that position anyway. I will bring on Alistair Johnston, though. And you know what? Gordon's had a bit of a quiet game. Let's bring on Maeda. So 2 players that we used in the Celtic career mode are coming on. They're bringing on Luis Chavez, who we did use in the Cloyne United career mode a few years ago, as Talisca just puts that free kick wide. Oh, this would be such a frustrating game to lose, and it hasn't even bloody made the changes. Oh my god, I can't believe this glitch is still happening in fucking August. Excuse my language. Oh, beautiful. Rasmus, get in there, 2-2. Well, I'm really happy to be back on level terms, but there's this stupid glitch where if you get a player sent off and you make some changes and try to bring on players from the bench, it doesn't register the changes straight away. It's really, really frustrating, especially when that now means we're playing with 1 centre-back less. So hopefully after this cutscene, it'll make those changes, but Rasmus gets his and our second of the game, 2-2 here. Has it made the changes? No, it bloody hasn't. Okay, let me try that again. Let's do this. See if it bring on Alistair Johnston. And you know what? I'll bring on Lenny Yoro. Let's just see if it actually registers at this time. Yeah, it does. Finally. So we end up making 3 changes. Maeda, of course, has come on for Anthony Gordon as well, which I'm completely fine with. But it's annoying that we had to make another change in order for that to go through. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Good save by Sami Zayn. I panicked way too much there at the back. But thankfully we get away with it. Here's Kirkez. GSP. Into Maeda. Go on. Lovely stuff. Oh, well done, Maeda. That's fantastic. Rasmus Højlund. Does he have the pace? Not quite. Or sorry, the strength I should say, not the pace. Not quite. And Fenerbahce now go on the counter-attack. En-Nesyri. Every time he's on the ball I get nervous. Same with this man, Anderson Talisca. Oh, good interception by Phil Brooks. Surely that's a foul. Surely that was a foul. You have got to be joking me. There's no way Phil Brooks would get beaten off the ball that easily unless he was fouled. And it looks like we may have lost this game, and that is not good when you consider how many tough games we have after this in the Champions League itself. Such poor defending, I can't even speak, from Phil Brooks. I thought he was fouled, but apparently not. Oh my god. If we lose this game, with all due respect to Fenerbahce, then I really don't think we're going to be having a comfortable time in this Champions League campaign. Palmer with a shot as weak as piss. And we really are running out of time now. Good tackle though by Hjulman. We enter stoppage time here. 3 added minutes. And Rasmus loses it there again. This is really frustrating. Really, really frustrating. And oh my god, Phil Brooks is actually really starting to piss me off. Drew McIntyre, I actually know how you feel, lad. I'm feeling your pain at the moment. My god, tell you what, I thought that was actually going to go in there for a second. But we face defeat here on the first Champions League game of the season. Jose Mourinho's men do get the 3 points. And we really do have a big, big mountain to climb in this Champions League campaign, because the games don't get any easier from here. Well, that is a very, very frustrating way to kick off the Champions League campaign, but we have had a fantastic start to our Premier League campaign. It's Fulham up next to our bottom of the table after the first few games. I'm going to quick sim this one and hope that we can get the 3 points. Oh boy, do we get the 3 points. Cole Palmer, they're getting the 4th goal. Phil Brooks making up for a very poor performance by scoring in this game. He actually scored twice in this game, and Lissandro Martinez, who got sent off against Fenerbahce, also scored as well. So some of the players who were very frustrating against Fenerbahce have made up for it here, and our perfect start to the Premier League campaign continues. I know it's only one game, but to see us in 25th place in the Champions League is very, very frustrating. On paper, I really did think we were going to beat Fenerbahce, but I really need to take off my Anthony Smith glasses and realise that football is not played on paper. They weren't the easiest team to get on the opening day of the Champions League season, but they weren't the toughest team either. And look at the teams we're playing in October: Atalanta and AC Milan, and I think it's Bayern Munich after that. So that's why I felt like it was really important to get a victory against Fenerbahce, but it wasn't to be. But look, it is what it is. The European campaign may have not gotten off to a great start, but the Premier League campaign, really, it can't have gone any better than what it currently has. 5 games in, 5 wins, 16 goals scored, and only 2 goals conceded. So good to see that things are going well on that front. But anyways, lads, that will do it for this episode of the FC25 Career Mode Dream Team series. We will be back for the next episode on Wednesday, where we will be kicking off our League Cup campaign. Of course, we're taking every competition seriously now. We do want to try and win the quadruple, but it's going to be a lot easier said than done. I think this episode has definitely proven that. There are certain competitions I think that we are going to win this season. I can't see us going trophyless, but I can definitely see us not completing the objective in this second season. But listen, we're still going to give it a mighty go. Before I actually officially wrap things up as well, just a couple of things. So this coming Thursday, I will be doing my season prediction video, where I predict the winners of all the major trophies this season, and also give my thoughts on who's going to qualify for Europe, who might get relegated, and maybe a few other things as well in terms of top goal scorers and stuff like that. Another thing, as a lot of you might remember, this series initially I was going to do exclusively live, and then I kind of realised that between now and FC26 coming out, there probably wasn't enough time for me to just exclusively do this live once a week. But I do plan on doing a live episode at some stage over the next couple of weeks. I don't want to do all these videos, or all these episodes I should say, pre-recorded. I would like to throw some live streams in there. So please do keep an eye on the community tab for an update on when I might do one of these episodes live. And we'll have a grand old time there interacting with the live chat. But anyways, lads, that will do it for this episode. If you did enjoy it, please do hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel as well. We recently hit 600 subscribers, which I'm very, very happy to have achieved, and that is in thanks to all of you. I had a goal to hit that before FC26 came out, and you all helped me smash it. The road to 700 starts here. Have a good one, lads, and I'll talk to you all in the next episode. Take care.